What's up, y'all? Jonathan Joyner here. I know you're used to seeing us in the race shop or at the racetrack. We're doing a little something different for Speed Weeks. Each night after the races, we're going to go live here on YouTube to talk about it, discuss it, debate, and interact with you all. We hope you join us and catch us live, but if not, we're going to upload the videos after the fact as well. And we're going to keep right on making our usual videos from the race shop and from the racetrack. Going to be a lot of content, a lot of fun. We hope you join us and we hope you enjoy it. We're going to go through and tell y'all how we think the World of Outlaws point standings will look at the end of the year. Will Bobby Pierce repeat? Will he dominate?
Let's start here.
Okay.
Who do y'all have third?
I have Sheppard third. B. Sheppard.
Okay. I have Madden third.
I have Madden third.
Joshua.
I have Sheppard third.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's interesting. All right, so we're split on Madden and Sheppard third. But okay, we none of us have Pierce third. That much we can conclude.
That much we know.
All right, so let's move on to second. I got Madden second.
I got Brandon Sheppard second.
I got Sheppard second.
Joshua?
I have Bobby Pierce.
No,
you don't.
I
do.
Right
here.
All right, so hold on. You have Madden winning, beating Sheppard and Pierce.
You have Madden taking it.
I
Oh, man.
All right, so that settles it for us as well. We three have Pierce winning, repeating. Joshua's the only one that doesn't. So, Joshua, what are you thinking here? Explain.
Let's get to the why.
Yeah.
How every year, right? For how long? Overton, Davenport. You had RTJ this year and Pierce. Like
I see where you're going with this.
No one maintains, and for however many years now, I don't feel like anyone has maintained after a just knockdown stellar year, come back and backed it up in years. It's been a long time.
Let's factor in the Wild West shootout. And
what we seen
going into this
year. Davenport last year dominated out there, or won 3 of them.
West shootout,
and then slid backward from there.
Yeah, I mean, I say get out.
I don't know about that.
I mean, he had an off year by his standards. Yes.
I don't think you can. I think the Wild West shootout and even Speed Weeks to some extent is an extenuation of last year, right? And I think, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just gonna play in, playing the odds here or the historical
analytics,
here. And to me, Bobby, I'm not wishing it on him, but I think he's due a step back after the year he had. We've seen that cycle, right? It's very cyclical. And I think some of that has to do with the guys that, that see everyone else have that, see, the year on RTJ has, or Pierce has, or Davenport had a couple years ago and Overton before him. I think you see those guys work that much harder so they can have that year. And here's the thing with Chris Madden. I saw somewhere it was posted. He's got, he's tied for the most runner-up finishes in Outlaw points.
Like 4 of them, I think.
4 of them. And the 3 guys he's tied with was like Clanton, and all the guys he's tied with have all won it. He's the only one, for that amount of second place finishes that's never won it. And that tells you anything, is he really, really wants to win a national tour, right? A championship.
Mm-hmm.
And, as he's getting older, he's going to run out of those opportunities. I think he's putting everything he has. And I would imagine, the folks behind him are as well to try to make it happen this year. And I'm just going out there and saying, I think I can see it happening.
My thing is, I see Pierce, even if he backslides a little, like he was so dominant last year that there was plenty of room there.
There's room to backslide and still be on top.
You would have said the same thing about Davenport.
That's true.
Last year.
That's true.
And you just don't know, like, if a lot of this momentum stuff, right? If you don't have that domination that much, do you start trying things that put you back even farther, right? Like if you're not having the same success that you had the year before,
right?
Things aren't clicking exactly as good. I think that's actually makes it harder to maintain. It makes it easier to slip back even farther because you're trying to match that almost otherworldly performance from the year before.
It'd be interesting to see.
Sure.
It's
all logical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think Madden needs He hasn't won at Eldora, hasn't won a national tour, and he's one of the, uh, I guess, top guys that hasn't done
top
either.
drivers
That hasn't done either of those things.
Yeah,
Does that make
that's
sense?
like either of those would put him at the next level, right? The next tier of superstar status. I mean, I feel like he's there.
I think he's already there
but
with what he's done.
but I think when you look at his career, right, I think he needs that would solidify it for him.
Hey,
Right?
he could do both in 1 year. He could win the
It
World
could happen.
Outlaws, win at Eldora. I mean, he's capable certainly of doing both, and he's been good in the Longhorn.
Well,
Has he
he's
not?
right there every time. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Can y'all hear my dogs barking?
no.
Okay, that's good because they're awfully
Shut
loud.
them dogs up. just to clarify, I got Cody Overton winning the Rookie of the Year.
I
What
have
about
him
you
winning
guys?
Rookie of the Year as well, but not in the top
Joshua?
10.
Yes, yeah, I do.
Joseph
I think I got the Sorensen over him.
Sorensen for Rookie of the Year. Okay, that was the only other thing I think.
We'll get these written down somewhere, and
I have mine written down.
I have mine written down, but I don't trust y'all not to change yours when we come back to revisit
we
this.
we have video evidence of what was said.
This peer,
I
is
think-
it locked up going into the final weekend, or does it come down to a battle coming into Charlotte?
The final weekend, I think it's locked up, but I think it probably goes further than it did this year, being a back and forth battle.
Yeah, maybe. Right. It isn't obviously Pierce unless something happens, halfway through the year, basically.
Do you feel like this year's, like what we're looking at, the roster we're looking at this year's is a stronger lineup than last year's World of Outlaw series roster?
I mean, last year's was pretty stout, right? I mean, it's basically did we add any guys? That
Did
Sure.
Sheppard run it last year?
he did, didn't he? Yeah.
Did he?
He
He
Yeah.
did. Sheppard was third last
Yeah.
year, so it was Pierce, Madden, Sheppard, Bronson, Hoffman last year was your top 5. You lost, so Clanton is not back from last year. Gordy Gundaker is not back from last year. I think it's pretty similar to last year. I think we're like this time last year. I don't think Bobby Pierce had he committed, or did he?
He did. He
after
committed
3
when they
weeks?
got down there. No,
Did
he
they?
committed it when they got to
Okay.
Volusia.
I feel like for some
pretty sure.
reason this roster, maybe it's because Pierce had the year he had last year. Sheppard finished the year so strong,
And in the
and Madden.
Longhorn house car deal.
You're right. I feel like this feels like the best Outlaws roster in a long time, right? Like
Yeah,
I feel like it really, you look at it and say, oh wow, that's a really good field, right? And going to be really competitive. I think last year maybe it kind of snuck up on us being a good roster because Pierce kind of was a late entry or kind of last minute there, and you didn't know how Sheppard was going to do going into his own way, and Madden's always kind of, is he going to run it or not? So I think this, now that you know it going into it, I think everyone is looking for a really good year for the Outlaws competitive as far as competition
Okay.
level.
So the next step, the next question there is the World Outlaws roster looking better than the Lucas Oil roster for 2024?
I'm really not sure what the Lucas Oil roster looks like.
I
They-
have it something pulled up, but it doesn't. There's not very many people on it.
Yeah. Well,
I
I mean,
think-
we can assume that you're going to have RTJ and O'Neill.
So
Then the question marks would be like your Davenport and your Overton, right?
Yeah, I guess you'll have Moran will probably do.
Yeah,
it again.
we can assume.
McCready's already
McCready,
said he's doing
yep.
it again.
here's
Yep.
here's what I got. I got 2024 Lucas Oil late models. Boone Briggs, Daniel Adam, Dalton Wilson, Devin Moran, Garrett Alberson, Hudson O'Neill, Max Blair, Ricky Thornton Jr., Ross Robinson, Tim McCready, Tony Jackson Jr., Tyler Erb. Does that sound?
That sounds
Has
like
Herb- that sounds close.
Has Herb announced? Has Herb announced that he's doing it? know
I
there's
mean,
some
you like I
questions
said,
there.
you assume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would assume that
Mhm.
group. And that, I mean, with that group there, I mean, I think that's some pretty stout cars.
Yeah, and-
you
and
just listed off.
The four that says it's uncommitted from 2023 is Brandon Overton, Earl Pearson Jr., Jonathan Davenport, and Spencer Hughes.
Well, I think two of those are the real ifs, like that can sway that. If Overton and Davenport don't run the Lucas Tour, I think you have can make a case that the Outlaws perhaps have the better roster. I
True.
think
Yeah.
if Davenport and or I think and or Overton run it, I think I would still lean toward Lucas Oil having a better roster. But then again, it also can depend on who's hot, right? Like
Right. Who has the
McCready has a
better
little bit of
year?
a down year. Overton last year, Davenport, McCready, and Overton all had subpar years, and it made the Lucas roster a little less appealing. But that could change.
Yeah, yeah. I think that regardless, the outlaw stuff we hear, we know it's pretty stout. We know that. We don't really know what Lucas is going to have, um, but it's going to take a really good one to outweigh this one. And I think that if anything, they'll be matched evenly.
We'll see.
You know,
They always tend to kind of balance out.
Right,
This
yeah, it's
last
gotta
kinda
make
night
but when
race
you
decisions.
where
but when you talk about it at the beginning of the year before all this has started, you just look at who's who, not necessarily how is who, or how everybody is.
Right.
It's
who's
going to
who,
be
not
kind of
how's
similar.
who.
You know what I'm saying?